1925. It mandates the study of the life, works, and writings of Dr. Jose Rizal in all Philippine educational institutions. It is enacted on June 12, 1956, and it aims to foster a strong sense of nationalism and promote a deeper understanding of Rizal's contributions to Philippine history and his advocacy for reforms and independence. It is authored by Senator Clara M. Recto and co-authored by Senator Jose P. Laurel. The law faced strong opposition from the Catholic Church due to the anti-clerical themes in his novels. The key provisions of this law are the mandatory courses. That's the first. The second is the availability of materials. Third is the establishment of Rizal course. The law itself highlights the education's role in shaping the national consciousness and values, aiming to instill a sense of national pride and appreciation for the country's history and heroes.
Good day everyone. So today I will share my learnings about the first travel of Rizal. So Dr. Jose Rizal's first travel abroad occurred in 1882 when he left the Philippines for Spain. So ang unang travel ni Rizal is gikip nila as secret sa iyang family, sa iyang parents, but kadaghan is nahibaw-an na pod nila nga si Rizal is niadto sa abroad. I also learned that Rizal's initial travel was driven by his aspirations to study in Madrid, where he engaged in various disciplines such as medicine, languages, philosophy, and painting. So dito sa abroad, nag-develop jud ayo ang iyang talent since daghan kaayo og opportunities dito. So during his first travel abroad, Dr. Jose Rizal faced various challenges. So usa na ani ang language and cultural barriers. So Rizal traveled through multiple countries facing language barriers and cultural differences that he had to navigate. So although nag-research si Rizal, but pas learner man kaayo siya, so nakatunan ra niya ang mga different languages, so daghan kaayo og nakatunan si Rizal na or nahibaw-an si Rizal ng mga language. So also he faced political and social pressure. So Rizal also faced pressure due to his political views and activities criticizing the Spanish rule in the Philippines, which could have put him at risk. So delikado po kaayo to kay as we know, Rizal is grabe ya ang paninindigan to help our country para dili bitaw mga pusong nato ang Spanish na kanang garulan ang time. So pwede to like pwede siya disgrasyaan to or like maput danger iya ang life. So Rizal's first travel abroad was a pivotal period in his life that not only broadened his knowledge and skills but also deepened his commitment to fighting for the rights and welfare of the Filipino people. So katong pag-adto niya abroad, mas dito iyang gi-develop ang iyang knowledge, ang iyang skills. Isang asa dito wala gihapon siya nakalimot sa Philippines o kanang tabang gihapon sa mga lain-lain na maagi sig gihapon sa sulat, and wala gihapon dito like dili dito nag-end ang iyang pag-fight para sa mga rights sa Filipinos. So that's why we should honor yun ang ato ang mga heroes kay grabe ang ilaang mga gibuhat para sa ato. So that's all, thank you.
Jose Rizal's second journey abroad began on February 3, 1888 and lasted until December 1891. This trip was pivotal for his growth as a reformer and a patriot. He left Manila for Hong Kong, then traveled to Japan, arriving in Yokohama on February 28. Rizal immersed himself in Japanese culture and formed a close relationship with Siko Usui, also known as Osei-san. From Japan, he journeyed to the United States, landing in San Francisco on April 28, 1888. Rizal explored cities like New York, Chicago, and Washington, D.C., observing American society. On May 24, 1888, Rizal arrived in Liverpool, England. In London, he conducted a research and worked for annotations of Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. Rizal moved to Paris in early 1889, participating in Exposition Universelle, and later settled in Brussels, Belgium, where he completed his El Filibusterismo in 1891. During this period, Rizal worked important works including El Filibusterismo and continued advocating for reforms through articles in La Solidaridad. Rizal returned to Manila via Hong Kong, arriving on June 28, 1892, marking the start of his active involvement in the Philippine Reform Movement. This journey was marked by significant literary and political activity, greatly contributing to the nationalist movement in the Philippines.
During the times of Rizal, the sinister shadows of Spain, decadence darkened Philippine skies. The Filipino people agonized beneath the yoke of Spanish misrule, for they were unfortunate victims of the evils of an unjust, bigoted, and deteriorating colonial power. Among these evils were as follows. First, the instability of colonial administration. During Jose Rizal's time was characterized by frequent changes in leadership and inconsistent policies due to the political turmoil in Spain, leading to ineffective governance and widespread corruption in the Philippines. Second is corrupt officials. During Rizal's time, corrupt officials were a major source of suffering for Filipinos, exploiting their positions for personal gain, perpetuating inefficiency and injustice, and fueling widespread poverty and resentment, which ultimately contributed to the desire for reform and independence. Third is the lack of representation in the Spanish Cortes, was considered the third greatest evil during Jose Rizal's time, as it is denied Filipinos a voice in the legislative body that governed their lives, perpetuating unfair policies and colonial exploitation without any say or recourse for a local population. Today, corrupt officials, stealing money, poor government services, and lack of representation for some groups lead to inequality and public anger.
During Jose Rizal's time, Filipinos suffered significant oppression under Spanish colonial rule. While the Spanish Constitution of 1812 and subsequent ones granted freedom like speech, press, and association to Spanish citizens, these rights were systematically denied to Filipinos. This double standard reinforced colonial dominance and highlight the Spaniards' perception of Filipinos as inferior. Equality before the law was non-existent for Filipinos. The Spanish Penal Code imposed harsher penalties on native Filipinos and mestizos while treating white complexioned Spanish more leniently for similar offense. This racial discrimination dehumanized Filipinos and perpetuated social and economic inequalities, cementing their subordinate status in the colonial hierarchy. These injustices fueled the reformist movement led by Jose Rizal. His writings No Limit Tangere and El Filibusterismo depicted the abuses and corruption of Spanish authorities, awakening nationalism and desire for equality among Filipinos. Rizal advocated for peaceful reform, emphasizing education and enlightenment. His life and work remain a testament to the resilience of Filipino people in their quest for freedom and human rights.
The number 6, or evil, during the time of Rizal is maladministration of justice. So before, the judicial system under Spanish rule was highly corrupt and biased. So mostly sa ilang mga trials, mga outcomes sa ilang trials are favored sa mga Spanish or those person nga naay mga impluwensya sa gobyerno. That's why ang mga Filipino disadvantage kayo sa ilaha para mudaog. That's why nagresulta ni siya na distrust and resentments towards the colonial authorities. And then the number 7 evil or problem during the time of Rizal is that forced labor. So ang Spanish colonial regime enforced a system called polo y servicio, which required Filipino men nga nag-edad og 16 to 60 to perform forced labor on public works. So kaning forced labor rather is magresult siya sa mga tao og physical exhaustion, of course kapoy kita, and then illness or even death. And then the men were given little to no pay, or which disrupted their ability to farm their own land and provide their families. So, and then the number 8 evil or problem during the time of Rizal is the racial discrimination. So, Filipinos face systemic racial discrimination under Spanish colonial rule. So before manggod ang mga Spanish is gilok nila ilang kaugalingon as a superior one. That's why baba kay ilang pagtanaw sa mga Filipino. That's why Filipinos were often denied access to higher education, prestigious jobs, and political rules. And then that's why this institutional racism affected all aspects of life, fostering a sense of inferiority among Filipino and driving their desire for equality and independence. That's why, as reflected in Jose Rizal writings and activism.
Of Jose Rizal, the Philippines was under the Spanish colonial rule, and several oppressive systems were in place. The ninth evil among the 11 is the forced labor, or polo y servicio. Filipino males aged 16 to 60 were required to render forced labor, known as polo y servicio, for 40 days each year. This could include building infrastructures like roads, churches, and public buildings. The system was often brutal and disruptive to the lives of those conscripted. The 10th evil is the haciendas owned by the friars. Large agricultural estates or haciendas were owned and controlled by Spanish friars. These friars belonged to religious orders like the Dominicans, Augustinians, and Franciscans. They leased the land to Filipino tenants who had to pay rent and provide a portion of their crops. The system was exploitative and a significant source of discontent among Filipinos, as the friars wielded immense economic and political power. The 11th evil is the Guardia Civil. The Guardia Civil was a colonial police force established to maintain public order and enforce Spanish laws. They were known for their harsh methods and abuses, often targeting Filipinos who resisted colonial rule. The Guardia Civil's brutality was a common source of fear and resentment among the local population. Rizal's writings, particularly in his novels Noli Me Tangere and Il Filibusterismo, highlighted these abuses and injustices, galvanizing the Filipino nationalist movement among Spanish colonial rule.
Today, I'm Angel Rosinsa and I'm going to talk about Rizal's exile in the Philippines. So it was year 1892 to 1896 and was a significant period in his life in the history of the Philippines. So during his 4-year exile, Rizal demonstrated his talents and dedication to his country. Rizal continued to practice medicine, particularly ophthalmology, treating local residents and even performing surgeries. He established school teaching local boys. He introduced improvements in agriculture and he also worked on infrastructure projects like water systems and street lighting. Rizal's exile ended when he volunteered to serve as a doctor in Cuba, which was then involved in a war. However, on his way to Spain, he was arrested in Barcelona, eventually leading to his trial and execution in December 1896. So his time in the Pita is remembered as a testament to his resilience, intellect, and patriotism.